Welcome to another episode on our channel. We're going to do another interactive posing episode. And I decided to pick two figures from my collection that are the worst case figures for posing. Basically, they're wonderful figures. I love the outfits that they have on. The bodies underneath the outfits, I'm sure, are very articulated, but the outfits are so thick and so form-fitting that it really interferes significantly with movement other than the head and the hands. I've been working on the arms to try to get a little more movement going without breaking anything. But I thought of using the worst case scenario to try to come up with at least two poses that might work. They're not going to be anything to write home about, but considering how difficult they are to pose, I think it was a creative challenge that I very much enjoyed. So we'll pause now and I'll get set up for the first pose. I forgot to mention the two figures. One is Tony Stark and the other is Steve Rogers. And they're both wearing team suit outfits. Now, Tony Stark came out quite some time ago with this outfit, and I gobbled him up because I just liked the look and the head sculpt. I love the outfit. And they talked forever and ever and ever about making a similar outfit for Steve Rogers. And if you go to Sideshow right now, you'll see that he's coming soon. But he's been coming soon for probably 1 to 2 years. And I don't think he's ever going to come out because they still haven't sold all of the Tony Stark team suit figures. So I doubt if he'll ever come out. But what I did is I bought another Tony Stark figure way back when they were exceptionally great in terms of prices, and popped his head off and put on Steve Rogers' head. So I have the two figures with the same outfit, but they're highly, highly immobile figures due to the outfits that they're wearing. So those are the two figures I'm going to work with. So we'll set up for the first scene. I think I came up with a couple poses that would work for me anyway. We are back, and here are the two figures in the same outfit. And I think the outfits look wonderful, but they are made of heavy material and they are very form-fitting. So just getting the arms into what I wanted to do here is a fist bump. Took some work on my end to get them that mobile. And I don't dare do anything more than what I've done with these two arms for fear of breaking something or having something fall off or something tearing or something like that. So here they are from a distance away. We're going to bring the camera up closer from here on up and then do a 360 so you can see them a bit better. These two primary protagonists of the Avengers, there's always been some slight competitiveness between both of them. So it's no surprise that even a fist bump can be a serious matter. So you can see that, they actually bumped there for a second. A little jiggle. You can see Steve Rogers here with his head tilted a little bit. And then Tony Stark's going to come into view. There's the fists about to come together, and there he is with the serious look as well. And I thought this would be appropriate for an interactive pose. Yeah. And there are the fists that kind of bumped each other as I came to a stop. We are back and we're doing that old game. You guys know what it is, right? It's a rock, paper, scissors. So it took a while to get their arms in the right position, and still it's not perfect. The mobility is very limited, like I said, with these two figures. But we've got them started anyway. I don't know. Actually, I do know who wins, but you won't know. It's just between me and them. Even my husband doesn't know who wins. But anyway, we'll get a tighter close-up of these two guys so that you can see in the hands. We are back, and it took me some time, like I said earlier, to get the hands where I wanted them, and they're still not perfectly where I want them, but they're kind of about, here. So you're about, ready to start that game. It's close enough from my perspective. So we'll move them around so you can see them from different angles. Hopefully there's not too much jiggling going on. And they still are very serious. There's a tilt of the head. I could see Tony start doing that in a game like this, studying his opponent carefully. And whatever he does with some intensity. So he's looking at Steve here. And again, who wins? Only I and these two guys know. Just an illustration of what you can do with bodies that are almost like statues, barely movable. If you're creative enough, you might be able to strike an interactive pose that you can live with. You might be wondering why I'm back, but I thought of one more scenario to display Tony Stark and Steve Rogers. The main point of this particular episode is basically to encourage you to not let your figures defeat you. Hopefully we can figure out ways, even with limited articulation, figure out ways to communicate a story, say something important. I am sure the fist bump didn't take place in the end game. The closest we came to that was when they were all getting ready and they were in a circle. They were getting ready to do that one trip back in time and one trip back, and they put their fists in a circle together. But as far as I know, there was no fist bump between Tony Stark and Steve Rogers. There certainly wasn't rock, paper, scissors. That didn't happen. But it would have been cute if it had been put in the movie. And I think this would have been neat to have been put into the movie, but I wasn't one of the writers, so obviously that didn't happen. I think I would have put it in there. You might not be able to see what he has in his hand, in his right hand, Steve Rogers, from a distance, but we'll get a close-up, so if you can't see it now, you will see it then. But he's looking at what is in his hand, and Tony Stark is looking at what is in his hand and also reaching out to put his hand on Rogers' shoulder. So we'll go around and show you this scene. You can see some positioning of the legs I was able to attain, some leans, Tony Stark leaning in, Steve Rogers leaning back as he's looking at what's in his right hand. All right, so now we'll get a close-up, and hopefully, if you didn't see it before, you'll be able to make it out with the close-up. I very much think that 1/6 scale figures are pieces of art. They certainly can communicate stories or generate emotions, revive memories that are attached to a particular movie or television series or something. But oftentimes they can tell a story if we're good at being storytellers. And the way we can be storytellers is to work on the posing end, whether it's individually or interactively. I think interactive poses sometimes can create more dynamic stories, but they don't have to. Individual poses can as well. But I hope this communicates a story to you. It didn't take place, the scene, in the end game, but I hope it does communicate a story. So we'll just kind of go around slowly. And hopefully now coming into focus is a woman's high heel shoe. And Steve Rogers is definitely looking at it. So is Tony Stark. Steve Rogers is leaning a bit backwards as he's looking at it. And Tony Stark is leaning towards Steve Rogers with his hand reaching out to perhaps provide some consolation. So there you go. Here's one last look at our figures. I hope this particular scene and the others before encourage you to rise above the limitations of your figures and find a way to communicate a story that's meaningful to not only you, but to other people as well. I hope you've liked what you've seen. If you have, consider giving us a thumbs up and subscribing to our channel. In the meantime, everyone, please have a great day.